Citizens Advisory Committee then? Chris?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I even forgot. I don't think I've been to too many of those meetings lately.
That looked like a lot of information.
I actually, like I said, I haven't been to any of those last 3 meetings because it's been on a night where I've had another meeting.
Call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Okay, Mayor Westergaard.
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yep.
Reese.
Yes. Okay, no public forum. Consent agenda, any additions or corrections?
Just to note that the Brett Ludwig building permit is approved.
Motion to approve, so moved. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Bolton.
Yep.
Moeller.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes. Okay, resolution 1839, that's our variance.
Yeah, just so this is a variance request from Chuck and Donna Schmidtke, and this is to build another shed over there by his truck shed at 400 Vine Street. So it goes fire station. There to the north then is Schmidtke's existing truck shed, and they would like to build another shed, and this would be kind of toy storage, but just another one that would look very similar to the truck shed. The variances were requested so that the front wall of each of the fire station and the existing truck shed in the new building would stay in line. Okay, and it's in an industrial line, an industrial zone, so the setbacks are more in the industrial zone than they are in residential. So, front yard setback per code is 30 feet, and you would propose 24, keeps it in line with the existing one. And rear yard setback is 20 feet per code, but this would be at 15 and a half. And the Board of Adjustment has met and would recommend and has issued this variance, and this would come to the council then for approval.
I'd recommend a motion to approve resolution 1839.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Bolton.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, now we need a motion to approve the building permit for Chuck and Donna.
Also move.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Stankin.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yep.
Reese.
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, the bids on the asphalt came out exactly what we thought.
Well, like we said, we had that cost estimate on that project, and then we sent it out to bid and included a maintenance bond with it. And so we got the same bid back, but it's about $3,500 higher than with the maintenance bond. So we only got the one bid. We sent out 8 bid packets, but just had one return, which was not surprising.
Bids are tough anymore.
Yeah, asphalt crews, they almost, it seems like they have their own little areas and they don't encroach on them.
I think it's out of Denison.
This one's out of Humboldt, Blacktop Service.
We need a motion to approve that bid.
I'll make it.
Second.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Reese.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
This is our AUP procedures.
Yeah, so every year we gotta have this agreed upon procedures is what it's called, but it's not a financial audit, but it is an examination of our books and how the city does as far as meeting these certain criteria. They're called the agreed upon procedures. So we do this annually. We have had Feldman Company do our audit and agreed upon procedures work for many years. Now Feldman has given us a proposal. We got that proposal over the weekend. So really we do have 2 of them to consider. Hunzelman Putzier is out of Storm Lake, and their cost is $4,000. Feldman is out of Carroll, and their cost was $4,500.
So if this isn't an audit, it's just on procedures, why do we have to do this?
It's state code is required.
Okay.
Every community has to have this done periodically, and it used to be that some real small cities never were audited, and they changed this 6 or 7 years ago, so that even periodically, even those real small communities have to have this process done, so they're checked for the agreed upon procedures. We spend, our budget's more than $1 million annually, so we would have this done every year.
And what kind of procedures do they review?
They are checking compliance, and a lot of it is financial, you know, as far as the, you know, how the disbursements are made, and who approves disbursements, and does everything get approved by
Okay.
city council, you know.
So it is a financial,
In some regards, but it does not audit our financial statements.
okay, got it.
Well, we would need a motion to approve whichever bid anybody would like.
I'll make a motion. Go ahead, Dave.
That we do the Huntsman and Putzer from Storm Lake. Did I pronounce that right?
I think it's Huntsman Putzier.
Okay, that one for 4,000.
They have done audit work for us before, but it's been about 20 years ago.
And I think it's nice to get, you know, we've always used another one, but a different.
Get new set eyes and.
Change it up a little.
Yep, new set eyes and.
You get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Wolfman,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Spanky,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Okay, our DOT snow removal, they went up in price finally.
Yeah, they did.
What part do they actually push?
So now, you know, we've been responsible for snow removal basically around the whole lake now since, well, when was that date? You know, it's been many years. Now, they pay us for snow removal on North State Road and South State Road, and that's all. Okay, but we have some jurisdiction out there on the east end, of course, East Shore Drive and Sunset Drive are ours, as well as Crescent Park, Lakewood Drive, Lakewood Cutoff, Denison Beach, and those are all ours too. So, the amount that's covered by the agreement with the DOT is just North State Road and South State Road. Now, Bill and I have talked about this quite a little bit, and Bill's not too keen on continuing to do that, and it has to do more with staffing.
Terry, start, you know where Dina Hogue lives?
Yeah.
At her intersection to Dixieland,
Mhm.
and then from Jake McCorkle's back to the DNR,
Oh.
the two pillars here in town.
Mhm.
It's the majority around the lakes what it is.
Mhm.
We use a load of sand in town, and then going around the lake, we use a load and a half.
Uh-huh.
To give you an example how much it takes.
Mhm.
Tearing up yards, we clean up yards, busting up mailboxes,
Right.
a lot more than just moving snow.
I know Jim Drilling, you know, he was telling, John Drilling was telling me that they used to do it all, push it all to the lake, you know, years ago.
Yeah.
They make 2 tracks, just clear to the lake, that way you don't tear them off. You know, like this year where it seeds some of the lawns and stuff.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but some of your guys were new, weren't they, Bill, this year, moving snow? No,
Brian was the only one that was,
new?
no, Matt and Kelly were both new.
I guess my only concern would be the service for the people that live out there. You know, is that gonna be affected by the city not doing it?
I don't, to me, we have to staff it. If you need more staffing, then that's what you have to do, because I can't see letting the state come in and do this section. As far as the residents go, I don't think that's a good thing for them.
I can answer that for you, Dave. It was never a problem when the DOT did it.
But like that curve over there on by the marina that goes, you know, who don't take care of that? I mean,
The
it's.
DNR is in charge of it,
Wow,
and we've talked to them.
that's bad.
There's a lot of potholes on it too.
And then sometimes I have to crowd it with the bus and that drops off too.
Everybody's cutting the corner.
Yeah.
You know. So we've tried. Scott was with me when we tried.
Sure.
That's what it needs it to be, is paved. You know,
Well, they,
fill the hole.
You just keep widening
either
it
that
up,
or they
it'll still
blacktop it,
drive
you
off
know.
the
if
edge.
it's-
I know, yeah.
You know, I guess, and Bill and I have had this discussion quite a bit about, that we generally disagree about this, that it's, as far as the money end of things goes now, that the contract would be about $14,000. our budget for snow removal supplies basically is about 10,000. So this does cover our snow removal supplies, generally our sand and our cutting edges. And
Anybody else? Whitey?
I think we gotta go around there anyway to do it, and I understand that Bill's food is gonna be short-staffed, but hopefully we get that situation eventually taken care of too, so myself, if it was just the same, I'd say no, but since they gave us some extra money, I'd say I'm for
Yeah, plus,
covering it.
like I said, we have to go around there anyway.
So,
I guess I'd be in favor of keeping the contract with DOT.
I'll second it.
So you got that motion?
Oh.
I'd make a motion, we keep the contract with the DOT.
And I'll second it.
Roll call.
okay, Waltman,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
thank you.
yes,
Tom?
Yeah.
Okay, we had Region 12 here. Consider the contract.
Yeah, before we get into the contract too much, we're gonna take a look at this thing that was on your, at your chair tonight. As we start to think about this application for housing rehab money, we would look most likely to do a grant application to fund up to 6 rehab projects. And talking with Carla Janning down at Region 12 and looking for the appropriate size of this area that we would select from, and all of our 6 projects would need to come from that. She said the appropriate size, which has then maximized grant scoring, has been around 75 homes in the area. Okay, so first of all, I'm not married to this exact location, so we can certainly have lots of opportunity for changing. But we should try to keep it somewhere around 75 houses, and this includes 77. Now, as far as timing goes on that, we would get to work on defining our area here pretty quickly. Because we need to get those income surveys done right away. And she says she had a heck of a time with people responding, basically anything during the wintertime, people have a real difficult time with. The applications are actually due in April, but we gotta have the environmental assessment done prior to that. So, and that'll be done during the winter. So we wanna make sure that we can get all of our income verifications done yet this fall. So we do need to start working to define our target area now. With that though, there is a contract in your packet, and the contract would have Region 12 prepare the application. And then it does commit the city to fund them a little bit, $750 for them to prepare the application. And if they're if we actually get people pre-approved for the rehab projects, it's $100 for each person that they work through to do the income verification. So it could potentially be another $600. Those would be the only costs associated with that contract. And the other thing that it does commit the city to do, which we would likely do anyway, is to have Region 12 administer the grant for this thing. If we are funded, we would commit that they would do the administration.
Okay, back up a minute, Scott, here. My notes said no more than 75 homes within an area if we're doing 6 projects.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, check 75 houses?
So, no, that means that in order to be eligible to receive one of these grants, you'd need to be within the red zone, okay? In order to apply for the grant, we would need to ask everybody who lives in the red zone, they need to fill out a survey, and some of the survey deals with their household income, because more than a majority of the people in the area have to be low to moderate income. Okay, so we're asking folks to tell us ahead of time, whether we're going to have enough people qualified for that. So,
Or you broaden the area. Is
or
that
run
right?
it.
But, so, I'm curious, why did you go over, instead of coming down Main Street to Third Street, why did you go over past Perkins, over to First Street? What homes
I thought in my mind, there are some good candidates for rehab there, and it's Carol Hankins and those homes, about 3 homes are taken in. All 3 of those end up being rental homes, so they wouldn't be eligible anyway, but there are likely low moderate income homeowners that you can really consider.
So if you're gonna have an area, so the line, I guess I just thought if you went down, I wanna see what you're thinking of. But there's no reason to go clear over to First Street. Couldn't you come down Perkins, or you can't do that and include the homes on High Street?
Sure.
I'm just thinking of trying to get all this info from these people, and there's no homes, when you go across, Perkins on into, First Street, there's no homes along there that are gonna qualify, right? It'd just be more in the survey.
They're more in the survey. Yeah, because all 3 of those homes are rental homes, so they don't qualify for projects.
So what did they do? They go new windows, ropes?
Yep, health and safety stuff primarily, so they're looking at windows, grills, HVAC. They would generally do siding, new exterior.
Yeah.
It's up
Sometimes-
to $25,000.
Bathing, like bathtubs, walking, and stuff like that they might do, depending on what the home needs.
So again, I'm not,
Tied to you.
I am not tied to the area here at all. As a matter of fact, when I talked to Carla more about this today, she would really recommend that we have our housing committee be very actively involved in selecting an area.
And when do we need to have this done? The area?
In here and I think certainly within. But that's, again, that's more of a representation of how big the area would likely be, because it's about 75 homes.
So after the 25,000, who pays for that?
It's if they live in that home for another 5 years, it's 5 years for giving them home. So if they're there for 5 years, it's a grant.
I see. I figured somebody would pick up with that.
Well, the federal government dollars,
Yeah.
through the community development block grant.
So if somebody moves out, then who goes after them? Does the city go after them, or does?
Region 12 as the administrator
Okay.
of the project.
It doesn't cover rentals. But, and she even talked about that, about if they left early, if they move out early.
But they can move, but just not try to sell it.
Now, they gotta continue to live there.
Oh, they do.
It is only for owner occupied structure.
But they can't,
But the action tonight would be to approve the contract.
I make a motion that we approve it. And I'll second.
Roll call.
Tom?
Yes.
Muller?
Yes.
Reese?
yeah.
Bolton? Yep. Stanky?
Yes.
Okay, we got a pay estimate for Legacy.
Yeah. Just everything's in order. Things are going good, Bill?
Yep. They're finishing up out here by Jim Meister's, and then they're gonna head 5 miles, or 4 miles east of Lakeview, and then work that area back to Rock Rock area.
I'll move to approve. Thank you for Legacy.
Second?
I'll second it. Roll call.
Muller?
Yes.
Stanky?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Bolton? Yep. Reese?
Yes.
We have another payment for the underground. We're done in town, right, Bill? Underground?
We put the first customer up today, John.
Just a note here, Bill, on this, we paid them 95%, and that's for the contract. And then we turn around and pay the retainage in a month. But they submitted that bill for 100%, we were paid 95%.
Just have to let them know, John.
I'll move to approve that also.
Second?
I'll second.
Go ahead.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Muller,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Volk, Reese.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna look for some input on closing the Sax County Jail.
You want to give a little synopsis of what's transpiring first, or you want me to go ahead?
You just want to
Oh,
name
yeah.
and
First of all, let me say what an honor it is to address such a distinguished panel.
I would think so.
I knew you were gonna say that, I don't know why.
So, no, one of the, Sac County is considering closing our county jail and possibly farming out the operation of our jail to another county. There's actually 4 different options that were in the newspaper. Unfortunately, that's the end of my knowledge is what I've read in the paper. Nobody's really told me a whole lot about it. I really don't know any of the specifics of it, but it stands to cost the city a great deal if we end up calling people to Storm Lake, which was suggested in the paper. You know, and the rest now would be 5 hours that we wouldn't have somebody in town or take somebody else to have to come out. The financial implications, I think, are pretty great for our city. So I was talking to the mayor and Dave and Scott about maybe the city putting their 2 cents worth in that perhaps it wasn't a good idea. Sometimes economic feasibility has to go out the door, and it's just the service that is what is important. Anyway, how I've gone ahead to try and explain my point, came up with my own letter.
So do you know for a fact that there's no, reimbursement to the
The
communities?
details have been so scarce that I can't say either way.
There's no details finished yet.
When could we expect some further?
After the last Board of Supervisors meeting last Tuesday, they opened it up for 2 weeks worth of, for public input before they make the final decision. I don't know, but I would sure like to see some kind of specific plan in place before we do.
It's a little hard to make a decision if you don't have
If you don't know what you're doing.
specifics.
So what, how many would you say you haul up to Sac in a typical year? I've tried to put it down, but
40, 50.
Yeah.
So is the jail in bad shape, or what's the purpose?
It's an economic measure. Dale, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Sure. It is basically a financial thing. Calhoun County has a reciprocal agreement with Sac County that helps basically make the jail pay for itself. But Calhoun County lately has been taking their prisoners to Pocahontas County for some reason, and therefore the jail is no longer financially viable without all of Calhoun County's prisoners. So that's pretty much what's pushing this.
Part of that, the jail has never paid for itself. It's always been a negative dollar thing. The economic impact on the jail is closing it, you know, in my mind is there's going to be 5 employees out of jobs. They're going to pay another county to take our prisoners. That money is all going to go out of the county. The 5 people are going to lose their jobs. That money's going to go out of the county probably because, you know, I do have a personal vested interest in it because my wife does work at the jail, but you know, she'll probably end up getting a job in another county. But there's going to be a loss of a service there that county taxpayers have been paying since the jail opened. I believe it's a service that we can't lose. Because in my mind, I'm thinking if we lose the jail, you know, it might have a domino effect. It's a budget thing. I believe, in my mind, that they will have to hire a couple more deputies to transport the prisoners to DV County. So the budget aspect there would be just an offset to me, in my mind. because there's gonna be a cost there. And I guess they really haven't come up with cost figures yet. Or, you know, the details if they have to hire more deputies to transport prisoners or what, but I would just, you know, when you start closing a public entity like that, where there's a need, I think, correct me if did they say how many prisoners that go through that jail a year, 150 or something like that?
Yeah, Sac County, I believe they said 250 from Sac County, and then another 150 from
Right.
Calhoun.
And the other part of that is they've been offsetting the, Calhoun has only paid $50 per day per prisoner, which is pretty cheap. And they've been losing money on that. Well, now they're down to 5 employees now. And without that 6th jail employee, the money that was going out or coming in for Calhoun is offset by that one employee, so there's really not a
So,
cost going out the door for Calhoun.
so apparently that they didn't have a written contract, so Calhoun could go anywhere they could have wanted to.
I don't believe there was ever anything written.
I took it was written, but it's not exclusive.
Right. One party can pull out anytime.
Well, the thing is the question, is the county gonna hire more deputies to transport than we're not gonna be transporting? I mean,
Well,
there's a lot of unanswered questions.
There's a lot of unanswered questions. I did talk to one of the upcoming supervisors, Colorado upcoming supervisors, and the way I understood it was we would still transport them to Sac City because the county still has the obligation to transport them other ways. But that, you know, if the deputies are busy, we're gonna be ended up transporting.
I think we just need more definitive answers off
I think
the
I
bat,
do too.
in order to make it.
Just because
We just really do.
Because I do think that not necessarily confined to the jail, because the jail is almost an entity on its own, you know, but the other courthouse functions up there, I mean, let's face it, as time goes on, they'll be used less and less,
Right.
because it's all gonna be online. The jail's totally different.
Yeah, and you look at the neighboring counties, you know, Carroll, Pocahontas, you know, they're all looking at building new jails. You know, well, we were talking about the school project, you know, sooner or later, you know, something new or improved has to come along, and the jail could be one of those things, you know, that we also look at improving. But closing to me is not a economically good option. And, you know, I just think that the city should, at least let the supervisors know that we're not in favor of closure of jail. Basically, because of the
Sheriff's department going, except for us and Wall Lake, they could well take care of the whole county.
Sac City.
I mean, yeah, Sac City.
Are you gonna put out any information? Or just taking input from stuff we don't even know?
The only thing I know is what Dale's put in the paper, and I was gonna use the example, it's like me coming before the council and asking you to vote for the brilliant plan I have for the police department. Not telling you what
Not
the brilliant
not
plan
having
is.
any factual things that are going on, or any way to answer the questions. I just, again, I think that we can't really vote on anything until we have some more answers to those questions.
I was just kind of hoping we'd come together and send a letter of saying we want some definitive answers to know how
Yes.
that way it would actually be in writing.
And also, you'd want to know the timeline, you know,
Right.
because that's important, because, you know, like I said, now we gotta have some different plan on our part if it,
For
for
transporting.
the situation, so I guess sooner we find out, the better, we can make a better decision.
I think that's good.
to send up a letter
We'll
request.
put up a letter, yeah.
So we actually have our answers in writing,
Yeah.
and we're not
Yes,
subject to
a
change at a later
response in
date.
writing back
Yeah.
on what
You might state that we have concerns about closing the jail, but we would like more
Sooner.
information.
I prepared my own letter, but I thought maybe if the council wanted to, we're gonna say, we can't vote on something we don't know. We can't have
Scott's
input on
just
something. we don't know.
Yes, Scott is wonderful.
That will have a letter ready.
Perfect. Well, thank you for your consideration.
Yeah, thank you.
You need a motion, or
Yeah, sure. Yes.
make a motion that Scott draft a letter to the board of
And I'll
supervisors.
second it.
Okay, and would be seeking answers, asking for a timeline, expressing concern.
Roll call?
Okay, Tom. Muller.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Holden. Chuck. Stein.
Yes.
Okay, we got a couple, change order number one, lagoons, same lagoon.
Yep, this is that change order that we talked about last time. Changes the piping in the lagoon to PVC, eliminates that pollution insurance, and then also eliminates 6 inches of rock below the drain tile, and then that sock on the drain tile. So this change order number one would be for savings of $47,000.
We have that motion. So
I'll second it.
roll call.
Bolton. Reese.
Yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Just a little update on that information about a potential change order on building construction, just that we don't have anything yet and we haven't heard anything.
Okay, city administrator report.
Yeah, take a look at that issue on maintenance building plans. First, I'm gonna go through some plans with you. Flip to page 19. I was gonna get you a copy of the packet again, Wade.
It's all right. I'm fine.
We could share.
Yeah, sure, die saving. Where were we at for first part of the meeting?
Kind of.
This, on page 19, it's just going to show us just some rough concept of what this building might look like. This is not, very detailed, but building description, 70 by 120, and then it's with 16-foot sidewalls. This shows 5 14-foot high doors, and you can see that 4 of them 16 feet wide, 1 of them's 24 feet wide. Has 2 entry doors on what would be the east side of the building. So this building would be proposed to replace 2 Quonset huts there, and it goes at those 2 Quonset huts would be removed and rebuilt in that spot directly north of the existing maintenance shop. Flip page once and you can get some elevation drawings of what that would look like.
So we'd still be able to have like assuming we still have a water flow train, they'd be still able to use part of this? Don't they use the Quonset?
They do, but there's that 3rd Quonset to the north, and that would remain. It wouldn't be.
Will there be an area to house the harvester?
That's what big doors for,
Okay.
just in case Bill lets it in there.
Okay.
What, you know,
Just asking.
what kind of equipment, Bill, what kind of equipment did you
Wire
plan on
blade for
putting
the
in there?
snowplow.
You're thinking that's what's going in, that's,
Everything. The trailers that sit outside, we can get them inside. Maintainer, sweeper in the wintertime. Harvester.
okay?
So this would be proposed that it would have a heating system in it. Okay, so it is heated. Does not have any plumbing in it, so there'd be no water.
All of our inventory, parts, that'll all be in there.
Okay.
How come there'd be no water? You won't have to wash anything in there?
We'll do that in our existing building, yeah.
But this just takes care of the storage.
Just basically inventory storage and equipment storage.
Sounds good.
I like it.
So that's kind of concept. I'm really interested in hearing from the council about how you'd like to go about bidding this project.
We have the money, we put money aside for this.
We do, we will have $200,000 set aside for it. Now, that would be the low end of the people that we've talked to. Okay, because we've talked with a couple folks and again, that's low end and it's significantly higher potentially.
So,
How high?
how high, yeah.
Well, one of them said 350.
Oh, boy.
How much did we set aside last year for this?
Our total now is gonna be 200.
Yeah.
We have, but, you know, just cement alone, look at, that's a big cost, you know. It's all be cemented, right?
It would, yeah.
Yes.
You know, that it would have, it'd be cement inside and also supposed to have at least a 10-foot cement apron on the front side.
Well, at the moment lumber's pretty high, isn't it?
Not at Lakeview Lumber.
Was there a, can I speak?
Yes,
Was there a figure given approximately last year on a building
200.
from John Meredith? Did he ever give a figure? No.
Yeah,
Did he?
yeah, there is a total price.
What was his total, if I can, may I ask?
I'm gonna tell you it's 205, 206.
Yeah, that's.
That was last year?
Oh, yeah, stuff went up.
but there's a discussion on how deep the footings are. One guy wants 6-foot footings, the other guy doesn't. So we're not sure where we're gonna land. That's one of the issues that we gotta put out.
We don't know until we put it out for bid.
Well, and really, so I was talking with Chris about that as far as being an issue. You know, how do we bid this? How do we come up with a spec on a project that we can truly put out there to bid? By rights, we'd have a spec that's designed by an engineer. And, you know, to fill out all of the requirements that it probably is a requirement.
What, you mean
This-
the lumberyard can't do this with your?
Yeah, and it truly is supposed to, it would be a professional engineer or architect.
There you go.
They
Now,
can't do this?
For one, the lumberyard doesn't, we don't provide labor, we don't pour concrete, we don't do any of that stuff.
No, but I thought you had a design.
We've already drawn up a building, but that's only a fraction of the cost that you're talking about here in this project.
Right.
But your specs are gonna include footing depth, width, pound or strength of concrete.
But that's something you could
How-
do that we wouldn't have to.
No,
You can't
So
do
you're
that.
saying we
I
would need
don't, I don't
an
do that for a
engineer
living,
to-
I don't do
You
concrete.
don't wanna do that for me?
If I did, we'd have kept that plant 30
I
years
just
ago.
thought you had a program.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, that a design
We got
program.
we got a building program that will draw buildings.
But don't do
But-
But
no
as far as,
specs.
requirements
Yeah.
by the state of Iowa code
Oh.
for those kinds of things, it's just not something that we do every day.
But
Like I said, we've already drawn a building
You can
and
put a spec in, but you gotta know what that spec is.
Yeah.
Right,
and
right.
I gotta know if that's the correct spec,
So that goes back to.
I'm no engineer.
So that goes back to you, Bill, about what you'd be putting in there. That would determine a lot of things on depth of concrete or thickness of time.
Because of the weight of the stuff.
Weight and stuff, that would be,
So in other words, we have to pay an engineer.
You know, I guess notice that these drawings are prepared by Lester. You know, and we've talked with Lester,
That's your building.
Lester Building.
Oh,
Well, Lester and I are on a first name basis. No, it's, Lester Buildings.
okay.
And so, and Lester was supposed to have me specs today, and these would be full specs on a building, which we didn't get yet, Mayor.
Yeah.
But,
And he's based that on what you think are,
when you do buildings like this, these are actually pre-engineered buildings, and, they are,
a program.
well, they are, absolutely they are. They put it into their program and tell us what, but I guess what the intention would be,
What do you need for footings and stuff like that?
yeah, we would take a spec from Lester and tweak it to be what we really want it to be, and we put it out to contractors. Now, this would go to contractors as a general contractor doing everything, okay? But we just want to be able to make sure that we bid it in such a way that the local guy gets a chance and the Chris gets a chance.
And how do you propose that we're going to fund this above the 200,000?
Mhm.
That's your question to us.
Well, we'll see where the bids come in.
You know, the question would be though, is Lester gonna allow you to use their spec to let other people bid?
That's the thing, that's,
I have a tough time believing that they're gonna give you that information.
It will be very similar, how's that?
Well,
Sure.
We weren't gonna ask him.
okay. Hey, I'm good with that.
Well, excuse me, it's kind of a catch-22 because any publicly funded building requires it to be signed off by an engineer by code.
Okay.
And so if you want to bid it out, you pretty much have to have some engineering input.
separate, yeah.
And it's, if you go with the pre-engineered, then they're picking the specs, and so you're really not able to bid those out. And otherwise, Lester or someone else can come back and say you violated our patent
So-
engineering specifications.
You're saying that we should have a separate engineer do this?
I'm saying that's what the code requires.
Okay, all right.
So that's what you're saying.
And we've used who in the past?
Sooner, Dave.
Looks like it has to be passed.
Let's just not use the same engineers we used for the.
When we did the
I didn't have to finish my sentence.
When we did the bathhouse project, we used JEO, you know, it was an engineering firm.
Did we have some problems though down there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wasn't that
Did
one
we-
of the times I got excited about engineers?
Yeah.
And we didn't have a whole lot of problems down there, it was just, everybody thought it was way, way, way overbuilt. And the plumbing wasn't so good.
Right. Like I
We
said,
thought if we got bid specs from a couple different companies, we could pick out what we want and put them together. That's what the plan was.
Even if you borrow the
Right.
specs from a pre-engineered building, you still have to have an engineer sign off on. If you pull them out, put them in, somebody's gonna have to sign off on those for it to be pursuant to code.
I bet we can find an engineer that got a deed. Class.
Well, that's what we've been
That's what we
using.
use it.
It's that old joke, the last, lowest grade point average from the medical school, what do you call him, a doctor? So
Well, what engineering firms then do we use? Apparently that one wasn't so good.
Oh, you know, we've used Vincent and Kim for a lot of stuff, and we've used Schneider, and we've used Murr. Murr doesn't do structures anymore.
Well, that leaves them out then.
Because we've done structures. Well,
Well, can you get a price that we wanna spend between $200,000 and $250,000 and find out from different engineers, what's their engineering cost on the project that they have?
Absolutely, sure.
So I said, we gotta find that out first and then we can make some decisions.
And it probably won't get done this year, so if we go to the budget next year, you know, we might be able to, after we look at the dollars, throw in the same amount we threw in this year.
Scott, would you be able to request whoever engineer you contact, you know, can you figure it as a wood structure versus, because I'm gonna be willing to bet that any engineer is gonna come back with a red iron building for you. Which is fine, I can bid red iron building too, that's not a big deal, but I think it's gonna be a higher price building.
Sure, yeah. No, I mean, we would put this out as a request for proposals from engineers saying we're gonna build this type of building, and we're looking for,
Well, what type
Your-
of building are we gonna build?
it's basically a wood frame building.
Really?
Yeah. It is wood frame, and it's not a pole barn. But
Does the building, will it be, probably won't be insulated, or will
Yeah,
it
it'll
be?
be,
Because it's heated.
Steel line.
Oh, it's heated, okay.
And why is the reason not for a metal building?
There.
But his metal is not.
Yeah.
It would have metal skin on the
It's just a wood
outside,
frame.
metal skin on the inside, just the framing members is,
I got it.
Corrugated side?
And we wanna build something that we can make sure our local guys got a chance at.
we appreciate that.
I think everybody sitting here is hopefully looking at that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's not the issue, it's just
No.
that knowing what it's gonna cost and get us in. Now, a question for you, what would happen, let's say, we would put some money down to lock in some pricing? Is there such thing that could happen? Like, I'm just going with the fact that we got about 200,000 right now, right? So if we would lock in our materials and stuff, for delivery next spring.
How would you do that without a list?
You can't do that without a
We're gonna have
bid.
specs.
I mean, I'll
Well,
take
we
your
got-
money
we
and
got-
hold on to it for you if you want me to.
Well, we gotta get the specs, that's why it'd be important to get the specs as soon as.
Right, that's the key, it's,
Engineering,
Having
that's how
something-
you gotta move it up. If you wanna move forward, we gotta, our timing's gonna be important, get that.
So,
I think we need to get the engineering.
so do you have any contacts, Chris, with engineers who would do pre-engineered?
I haven't dealt with
basically
any-
pre-engineered stuff like that?
I haven't dealt with any engineers, but, I mean, I could do the same thing that you did with Lester, and I could go to an outside contractor and get them to engineer a red iron building, just like the Wall Lake Fire Department building. We supplied that building out of our yard in Wall Lake. Metal frame, you know, and it was, you know, they came up, one company did all the work, we sold the building. Majority of the money made went out of town anyway, because there was an outside contractor that came in and did it. The lumber yard did fine, but, you know, there was no labor from anybody in town that went, you know, electrical, none of that stuff, I don't think, on that fire department, I don't believe.
So, you know, the problem we'll run into though, you know, we won't get it done anyway until next year, just the fact why these guys got their.
Right, their projects are lined up.
Projects lined up, so that's, you know, how you can lock your price in and still.
I don't know if we can, but I think we need to get an engineer.
As far as materials go, the lumber market has softened. I mean, building materials are starting to drop a little bit. That's for this week and last week. And, you know,
Let's go forward with the.
It's tough to control.
Yeah, I think we gotta get some fixes.
Do we know where we're at?
So, what engineering firm are we going to use?
I'm gonna do some checking to see, truth be told, we want somebody who's gonna do some plain Jane work for us and not charge us a whole lot of
Right.
money and meet legal requirements.
So do you need a motion?
Not yet, I'll come back with some more.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Good.
A few other things, and a lot of them are listed in the packet, park board, that we do have an opening on the park board. We'd advertise for that. We have had a couple people already show interest in filling that park board position. Library board, they are looking at engaging the services of an architect, a meeting with an architect on this proposed expansion at their next meeting, which would be August 14th. Thankful.
So are you back up just a minute, are you advertising then for the park board position? You just run it one time?
Just run it in the newspaper.
resort?
Tonight, within the bills, you authorize payment for that fire truck chassis, so that is here, it's been delivered, and they're starting the construction on that. Bob Carroll's gonna be up here on Wednesday to go through some more stuff on that development agreement. So, that'll be kind of the next step. We got a few things to iron out on that, but now that we've jumped over that hurdle about the voluntary annexations, we need to work with Bob to hammer out this. Another thing, it will be coming up here, I'll bring it back to the council here shortly, is some more general topics about business development and incentive plans. And we're gonna hear more stuff from our downtown assessment about potential ways that we can help our businesses, particularly downtown. But then we've also heard from a couple of potential new business startups in the downtown area who basically were asking the city what the city would provide for incentives.
I think we need to come up with these incentives pretty quickly.
And we really have nothing right off the shelf that we could offer. So,
I'm not sure if there's, I don't know that housing committee is really, or you just want to get a few business people together, or how do you want to proceed in order to get the council, I mean, the council will vote on it, but to get a recommendation to the council for these incentives?
well, I'm gonna do start off by doing some research, you know, as far as what some of.
I'd like to have some
And then
input.
what the true need would be around here in a reasonable way that the city could set. Because the city can't just offer a bunch of money. It's just, so you gotta find some sort of a way that, again, is reasonable.
Well, that's true, but any incentives you give come back to you. Taxation and lost revenue, so, it isn't that you put this money out and it's lost. Comes back and lost.
There you go. Anyway, I do wanna work on that here.
I would like to help get some options for the council.
Great.
I got one thing, back up quick. So we got this engineer coming in to look at the library,
Yes.
talk to him about the possibility of doing something, since he'd be a town annual or whatever.
Well, I can talk with them about, he is they are an architecture firm that specializes in islands. So,
Okay, so much for that idea.
Put a few books in down there for the city guys to read.
That's right.
Educational material.
Believe it or not, summer's coming to an end here. Some of the summer staff is already going away. Some of them for Cabin and Carter, their last day is this Friday.
So do you, want, we have to get this housing committee formed fairly quickly. You want to sit down and talk about that someday?
Yes.
Does anybody want input into that? Any of you have any input? Do that? I mean, as far as just getting who's on the committee.
Because it would like to be a citizen, a mixed citizens committee.
I'll put that down to one committee.
I understood he was looking for another committee to be.
Thanks for stepping up.
Well, actually, his daughter was one of them.
Yeah.
So
Be good.
Get Hannah on there.
I'd like to see a mix of.
And how many people should we have on this meeting?
I think we were thinking 5.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
I'd be more than happy to be on that meeting.
Good.
I don't think those 5 can be, I have concerns about this 5. If you have 5, you have 5 residents, and then you have some council members and the mayor and the city administrator as consultants. Because if you take 5 and you put 4 of us on, we have no input from residents.
No, I think if you're gonna look at 5, you may have a couple of city council members or whatever, but just make sure that the majority are citizens.
I would like to see if we find 5, it'd probably be a good idea to find 5 non-council people.
I think so too, and then, or at least 4, and then have a couple of us, I think Carla will go with 5, 6. Because some of these people have already been working. They've already come forth and expressed an interest and have done some work already, so at least I think they ought to be offered.
Yeah, if they could be non-council people, that would be better.
And then 1, 2 of us, and you guys can,
Just to advise.
right, right. Okay.
No more than 3 council. More than 2 council.
Right, right.
Can't have one.
You can only have 2 if you want to be private.
You wanna follow all the rules.
That's right.
It's a good thing.
Okay, John. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
You'd be the rule guy.
Yeah. Motion to go into closed session.
Hold on one second.
No, Dale's got it.
Could I ask for some clarification? I brought up that Cameron Mule's taken every 3rd weekend now on water and sewer. He also wants to do the grade 1 and 2 testing for sewer and water license. When he receives his grade 2 water and sewer license, will he also get the pay that goes with it?
$2, isn't it? Yeah, that's what the other guys did.
I just wanted a clarification on that.
I would think we would offer it land.
Same.
I guess just so that everybody would understand that Cameron's already passed all of his coursework to be an electric journeyman, okay? And so the electric journeyman will be our highest pay grade for our land employees. And then you take that highest pay grade and you add $2 more. So just want everybody to understand.
I think he's entitled to it if he passes the test.
He's also studying at home too, for doing it.
I mean, that,
He's the only guy that stepped up. I asked everybody. I mean, to help out.
and if Jeremy wants to get his licenses, we can give it to him.
Yep.
Well, aren't Kelly and Matt studying too?
Yeah.
And Jeremy's interested.
We're trying to get somebody done by the June date.
Yeah, that's our priority.
Yep.
Whoever we get there first, that's what we want to focus on.
Okay, thanks.
Oh. We have a motion to go into closed second session.
Second, so moved.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks.
See ya.
Thank you. Phone call.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Down.
Yes.
Yes. Over.
Yes.
Really, you can get out.
Did we miss anything up at school?
No,
So
they
how
asked
they-
if anybody wanted to get up and talk, and nobody wanted to get up and talk.
Really?
In front of 200 people and throw their ideas out.
Oh, really?
Gene Ryan.
Well, that's probably good.
Is he the one that presented that other proposal?
I think so. Yeah, he was the only other one.
Well, it's gonna
talking.
be interesting.